Hi everybody, and welcome to what I'm hoping will be my final part of my updated PS2 collection for 2015. I've got 41 games left and about 35 minutes of which to do it in, so let's get started. First up, we have Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. Here you play as both Liu Kang and Kung Lao. It's a cooperative sort of beat 'em up similar to Streets of Rage and Golden Axe, all those like classic scrolling beat 'em up games, and you can play it on your own or in co-op. It's probably better with two players, and you get to fight all the other like characters like Goro and Scorpion and Baraka, and you can even do like fatalities as like the sort of special moves in the game. So yeah, it's a pretty decent game. Next up, we have Project Eden. This is a game developed by Core, who made the Tomb Raider series before Crystal Dynamics picked it up. And this is a adventure game where you get to play as like 4 different characters. Again, you can play it by yourself, or you can play with up to 3 other people and do like some sort of 4-player split screen, as you can see there. And I've not actually played it myself, but I've heard it's pretty tough. But I got it for like a few quid in the charity shop, so I thought it was worth the purchase. Next up, we have the Metal Slug Anthology. This comes with every single Metal Slug game released to this date. Metal Slug 1, 2, X, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I believe. Yeah, 6. And the only one I've played predominantly is Metal Slug 3. For me, it's the best one. I absolutely love it, and but I hope to get around to playing all of them at some point. They're really fun co-op 2D sort of shooting games, similar to the Contra series. Okay, next up we have Silent Hill 2. This is the special edition, which comes with the main campaign, also the Maria side mission. And this is an absolute classic survival horror game. It's one of the best. Not in terms of actual scares, but it sort of focuses more on the sort of psychological horrors of reality, basically, and really sort of pushes the envelope in terms of quite shocking imagery and stuff. So and yeah, it's one of the best games on the PS2, one of the best survival horror games in general, really. Next we have Silent Hill 3, which is actually a sequel to Silent Hill 1, not 2. You play as Heather, who is the daughter of Harry from Silent Hill 1. And it's not quite as good as the first 2, but in my view at least. I know a lot of people love this one, but it's still a very good game. The first 3 Silent Hill games are excellent. Okay, next we have Silent Hill Origins, which I have not played. I think this is actually a port of a PSP game, and you play as this trucker, I believe. I don't know his name because I've not actually played this game, but I've heard it's okay. It's not as bad as, say, Homecoming, for example, because that, for me, that's the absolute worst of the worst. Okay, and next we have God Hand, a game I have really struggled to get into, despite so many people loving it. It's not so much the sort of storyline, the sort of quirkiness of the game, because it's very sort of it's one of these sort of wacky sort of Japanese style titles, and I really like that. But the problem I have is the combat. Mostly, like you don't have like a block in the game. You have to sort of dodge, and I'm not very good at fighting games, and this sort of has like a very fighting game template, like a sort of Street Fighter, I guess you could say, but with like really sort of over the top finishing moves. The problem I have, it gets like harder the better the better you play, and I sort of really struggle with games like that. So, but I will give it another shot at some point. It has probably one of the worst box arts ever, as you can see. It's just like someone could have done that in like 10 minutes, like with Photoshop. Next up, we have iNinja, which is actually created by Argonaut, who are the same people who made the Croc games on the PS1. And this is a 3D sort of platform action game, and you play as a ninja, as you can see. And yeah, it's very similar to games like Crash Bandicoot and like Croc, as I mentioned, because it's sort of you have like this sort of overworld, and you sort of go between like levels, and then you can sort of go back and do certain like challenges as well, which is pretty interesting. It's a lot harder than it looks. Don't be deceived by the sort of cutesy look of the game. Next up, we have Flatout 2. Now, I did actually rent the first Flatout when it first originally came out in around 2003, I believe it was. And yeah, it was okay. But I really like the whole ragdoll effects with the sort of mini games that you do, and they're still intact in this game. But also the sort of main sort of championship races are sort of still there, and you have like your sort of like own campaign you can do. So yeah, it's much improved from the first game. Plus, as I said, you still get the cool mini games like bowling and sort of high jump and like ridiculous stuff like that. And yeah, it's pretty fun. It's not as good as the Burnout series, but it's sort of in that sort of lower tier. Okay, next we have Scarface, The World Is Yours. This is the limited edition sort of sleeve, I guess. And this is very similar to like the GTA sort of Saints Row style open world games, and it's basically like a what if. Spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen it. What if Tony Montana didn't die at the end of the original movie? And it basically sort of culminates in a sort of revenge mission for like Tony Montana to sort of take over Miami and get his revenge on the people who tried to like kill him, you know, if he didn't die. So, next up we have Forbidden Simon 2. This actually wasn't released in America, I believe. I think it was only released in Japan and Europe. And it's a lot easier from the first game, from what I can tell. It's a lot less like clunky in terms of the controls. I haven't really sort of played this, unfortunately, but I've seen a lot of videos of it, and it does seem a little bit more accessible than the first one. I do also have Siren Blood Curse on the PS3. And I played a little bit of that. It's not bad. Next up we have Okami. This is where you play as a wolf called Amurumatsu. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And it's very similar to games like Legend of Zelda and Darksiders, where you sort of roam around, sort of finding missions, and you have this like celestial brush where you can use the analog sticks to paint certain things into the world, like flowers or like bridges and stuff like that. And visually it looks beautiful, as you can see. There's also a HD remake on the PS3 if you can't find a physical copy on the PS2 or Wii. Next up we have Smash Court Tennis Pro Tournament 2. As I said in the previous video, I don't own many sports games, but this one I absolutely loved a hell of a lot more than Virtual Tennis 2, which I don't know, just visually the port didn't really hold up compared to the Dreamcast version, and I just couldn't get into it really. I felt the gameplay of this one was a lot better, plus you have like this campaign mode where you create your own tennis player, and each match has like certain crucial moments and scenarios where if like you lose a set, then your opponent gains the advantage. You win the set, like or game, then like you gain the advantage leading into the next scenario. I thought that was pretty interesting. The only thing is you don't actually get to dive for the ball, which I find quite strange, really, because that's like one of the main things you can do in virtual tennis games. So, but other than that, it's pretty damn good. Next we have Way of the Samurai 1 and Way of the Samurai 2. I have not played either of these games, but I do know they're very similar to the Onimusha series, which I absolutely love. So I was willing to get these and give these a go as well at some point. I've heard they're a little bit tougher than the Onimusha games, but I like a challenge now and again. Okay, next we have Ape Escape 2 and Ape Escape 3. Now, Ape Escape 2 I have completed and I really enjoy it. Not as much as the first one, mainly because I don't like the main character. They sort of got rid of Spike from the first game and replaced him with a character who looks almost exactly like him, which makes no sense to me. But yeah, there's like a few boss battles thrown in to like these sort of platforming sections where you have these sort of certain gadgets to capture all these monkeys who have escaped. Hence Ape Escape. But yeah, it's got a nice variety of different levels and such, and yeah, it's a pretty solid platform adventure game. So yeah. Ape Escape 3 I've not played, and I've heard it's kind of like the black sheep of the series on PS, of the first three anyway. But I thought I'd give it a go, see if it's any good. Next up we have Haunting Ground. This is a survival horror similar to the Clock Tower series, where you play as this girl and also has this dog companion called Huey, who sort of help you out with certain puzzles and like help you out with enemies trying to sort of catch you, basically. There's not really a lot of action in this game because you don't have like any like guns or other weapons like that. You can sort of hide in certain areas, but if you hide there sort of more than once, you get caught out. So there's a lot of strategy involved in this particular survival horror game. So yeah, it seems pretty good from what I've seen. Next up we have Dead to Rights. This is similar, I guess, sort of similar to Max Payne, and coincidentally you do also have a dog in this game who helps you out as well in certain missions. There's a lot of sort of bullet time events, a lot of sort of Max Payne on the Matrix, I guess. I haven't played much of this at all, but it looks pretty solid. Next we have Project Snowblind. This was originally going to be a Deus Ex game, but Crystal Dynamics, who developed this game, changed it to its own sort of thing. And yeah, I played a couple of levels, and it's okay. It's not amazing at all, but yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's a first-person shooter, by the way. Should have mentioned that. Next up we have War of the Monsters. This is a sort of 3D fighting game where you sort of control different iconic monsters like King Kong and like Godzilla and stuff. Although they're not technically called that for copyright reasons. Like you can play as like a robot and stuff like that, and you sort of fight across like various different cities, and yeah, it's pretty fun. It's very there's not really a lot to it other than that, but yeah, it's good at what it does. It was actually quite rare when a few years ago, but it seems to have sort of gone down in price ever since. Next up we have Gungrave and Gungrave Overdose. Gungrave I have played. I've played about 4 or 5 levels so far, and it's not bad. I wasn't expecting too much from it. It's a cell shaded third person like action shooter, kind of on rails, where you sort of walk down certain linear sort of pathways and take out various different enemies. You can also use like a coffin on the main character's back and take out any enemies who sort of run in and come up close. And yeah, there's a couple of boss battles thrown in for variety, and yeah, it's not bad. It's not amazing again, but it's decent. It's decent. I wouldn't pay more than £5 to £10 for it personally, but yeah, it's not bad. Gungrave Overdose I have not played, so I know very little about it, but once I get through the first one, I will move on to this one. Seems to have sort of improved a little bit on the first game, but we'll see. Next up we have Shadow Man: The Second Coming. This is the sequel to Shadow Man on the PS1. I have not played this one, nor have I played the original on PS1, but once I do, I will get round to this. It seems to be a 3D action game similar to the Soul Weaver series, so should be pretty good. Next up we have Twisted Metal Black. This is probably one of the better Twisted Metal games. It seemed to take a little bit more of a dark tone with this one, and there's several different characters you can play as with their own different scenarios and different wishes, and sure Calypso doesn't fuck up their dreams in any way possible at the end. But yeah, that's kind of the twist to each scenario. Certainly on the PS3 Twisted Metal I played, so yeah, I'm sure this is pretty much the same. Next up, Red Faction. Yeah, it's pretty good. Graphically hasn't held up as well as most FPSs on the PS2, but yeah, it's pretty fun. It has like this sort of Gmod technology. We can take out certain bits of scenery in order to progress further. I feel that it sort of improved upon it with the sequel, but yeah, it's a pretty good game. Next up, Dead or Alive 2. This is a beat 'em up. The sequel to the arcade game. I don't know if the original actually came out on the Dreamcast or not. I think it did. I'm not 100% sure. And yeah, solid fighter, and a lot of other distractions as well, as I'm sure you can see from the cover. Next up, Splashdown 2, Rides Gone Wild. I did play original. I did actually kind of like it, but wasn't really much to it. I feel this one improves upon it with basically each lap the sort of race changes, the scenery sort of breaks up a little bit, and you can have like a completely different race on each lap. So yeah, it's a sort of skidoo game similar to the Wave Race series on the Nintendo systems like GameCube and N64. So yeah, it's pretty fun. It sort of goes for an SX vibe, but doesn't quite measure up to that series in my opinion. Next up is Urban Chaos Riot Response. This is a FPS first-person shooter where you play as a cop, and you actually get rewarded for taking out criminals peacefully with your shield and like taser. Although I don't think a taser to the balls is quite as humane as sort of shooting someone in the head, in my opinion. But But yeah, I love doing that. It's almost, I'd probably say even more hilarious than doing it in Cyberphone Filter on the PS1. But yeah, it's got a lot of variety of different scenarios where you can rescue people from like a train, and also help other people out who can give you like health items, for example, for doing the right thing. It's also actually developed by Rocksteady, and if you know Rocksteady, you know they make really fantastic games, and this one is definitely no exception. Highly underrated. Next up, we have Darkwatch, which was developed by High Moon Studios, who made the Transformer games, the good ones anyway, not the movie tie-ins, and also recently made Deadpool, which I thought was a bit of an underrated gem myself. And yeah, it's not a bad FPS. It's sort of Western meets sort of Gothic type FPS game. I'd love to talk a lot more about it, but I played it for like an hour and my save corrupted, so I have to sort of start all over again. But what I did play, it was pretty good. The sort of weapons kind of remind me of the Time Splitters series with its sort of creativity. So okay. Next up, we have Persona 3. This is another one I played for a few hours, and yeah, I really enjoy it. It's a JRPG with sort of social elements. You play as like a new kid who's arrived at this new school and is trying to sort of mingle in with your classmates, and you're given certain options which can affect how the story goes, I guess. I haven't really played too much of this, but yeah, so far it's pretty interesting. I can see why people enjoy this series so much. So next up, we have Castlevania: Curse of Darkness. This is the sequel to Lament of Innocence. I definitely feel that they Konami definitely improved on the sort of backdrops of this game, because a lot of the scenery in the first game seemed very copy and paste. it's sort of very sort of similar dungeons and such. I played a little bit of this, but my disc is kind of iffy, so, and I even got it clean and it still sort of struggles to load cutscenes and such, which is a shame because I actually kind of enjoy this one. Next we have Half-Life. This is the PS2 port of the PC game, and yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad port. It's not as good as the PC version, obviously. If you have the option, I definitely recommend getting the PC version. But this one's okay. It's actually developed by Gearbox, which is kind of interesting. I never knew they were part of this. Well, porting this game anyway, and yeah, it's Half-Life. You know, what do you expect? It's an amazing game. I kind of prefer the second one because I played that first, and well, for the orange box on the 360, and but yeah, this game is still a classic, you know. Next up, we have Project Zero and Project Zero 2, Crimson Butterfly, also known as the Fatal Frame series in America. I believe in Japan as well. I'm not quite sure. But these are both survival horror games where you control a female character who can only see and attack ghosts with this magic camera. And it's pretty scary from the videos I've seen. I haven't actually had a chance to play it because I'm a bit of a wuss when it comes to survival horror, but I will do one day. But I definitely wanted to collect these games now for cheap rather than wait and see them skyrocket in price, basically. Next we have The Incredible Hulk: Ultimate Destruction. This is a open world action game similar to Prototype, I guess would be the closest comparison. I think it's actually made by the same people who made Prototype Radical, who actually made quite a lot of PS2 games like Simpsons Hit and Run and Scarface, which I just showed you earlier in the video. And yeah, it's pretty good. It's I wouldn't say it's as good as Spider-Man 2, but yeah, it's decent. Next is Under the Skin, which is a sort of third-person sort of puzzle game. It's sort of like Destroy All Humans, but a little bit sort of wackier, seeing as it's published and I believe developed in-house by Capcom. You have a lot of cameos from various Resident Evil characters like the Nemesis and Jill Valentine. I believe Chris Redfield is in this also. Next we have Freakout, which I believe is called Stretch Panic, I believe, in the US. You basically play as this girl with like sort of magic arm, sort of goes around attacking people with that arm. Basically, I haven't really played this game at all because, but when it comes to sort of Japanese games, I will pretty much buy anything like that's a little bit unique, and you know, I'll definitely play it at some point. Next we have Red Dead Revolver. This was actually originally published by Capcom and developed by Capcom, but then they sort of cancelled it, and then Rockstar picked this up, and it's very different from Red Dead Redemption. This is more of a linear sort of arcade sort of third-person shooter, and yeah, it's good. It's not as good as Red Dead Redemption in my opinion, but it's still pretty fun. It's the bosses are really really tough in this game, so and they sort of require certain strategies in which to beat them. Last two games. First of all, we have Global Defense Force. This was another game already released in Japan and Europe. This is also known as Earth Defense Force as well. And basically it's a third-person shooter where you attack loads of like bugs like ants and wasps and such who are sort of invading the Earth, and you have to try and save it basically. And it's a pretty damn fun arcade shooter. And finally, my 179th game, not 178, because I actually just bought this between this part and the last part of my PS2 collection video, and that is The Suffering Ties That Bind. And I purely bought this mainly because of my love and enjoyment of the first game. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, so I thought I might as well pick up this game too. I've heard it's not as good. It's basically a third-person shooter / survival horror game, although I believe they took a lot of the survival horror out of this one, so mainly because you have like so much ammo to begin with, unlike the first game. So yeah, but I will reserve my judgment for when I play it. So yeah. Okay, and that is it for my PS2 collection. I really hope you enjoyed this video, or if you managed to watch every single video for like well over 2.5 hours. I admire your stamina. Thank you very much everybody for watching, and I will see you next time for another collection video. Take care everyone, bye bye.